Hey there, welcome back to another coaching session. My name is Kanchefu and we're discussing what would happen if you didn't stop. What would happen if you continued? What would happen if you stayed on path? Now, I know it's difficult to go for something. It's difficult to stay on track and it's difficult to keep to your word sometimes. You got life, you got friends, you got family, you got work, you got to feed yourself, you got to look after yourself, you got to sleep on time, you got all these other aspects of your life. It's fundamental, it's just how life is. But let's talk about your stuff you're trying to attain. There's places you're trying to reach and where you want to be, ultimately. That path requires a different essence of who you are. It requires a new attitude. It requires a new mentality. It requires a new way of thinking, being and acting, and even behaving to achieve it. So, if it requires a new sense of self, that in itself is a journey, right? So not only are you going on this journey of personal development, you're also going on a journey of goal attainment. You've got two different journeys that take place in attaining a goal. So what do? What's the best option? That's down to you. Where do you feel you need to improve yourself in order to reach your goal? Because ultimately it starts with you. You're the person who wants to achieve this thing. You're the person who's going to have to deal with getting to that position. You're the person who's going to have to deal with it once you have actually achieved it and then maintain it forevermore. So with that, what qualities, attributes and characteristics do you need to employ within yourself to make getting this goal easier? Ask yourself and think about it. Because then it becomes, okay, if I didn't stop, if I then continued, if I just went for it every day, just a little bit, anything I can do from what I've written out in my plan and from what I need to do on a daily basis, if I then do that, then something's going to shift. And that's right, and that's what is going to happen. I'm not particularly sure of the place or the time I saw it, but there was this illustration where a drop of water was dropping on the side of a rock. So water was dropping in there and the plaque on it had written, this water has been dropping on here for 1 year. And there was a slight dent. And then another one, same idea, a rock with water dripping on it, individual drops, saying this water has been dropping for 5 years. And there was a bit more of a dent. And another rock with water dripping on it, saying this plaque has been dripping for 10 years. And it had a large amount of corrosion. And that is the difference in continuing a singular task, a singular action in one trajectory. So if you didn't stop, if you continued, if you honed in and committed to what you're saying and where you're going, that is what you can achieve. You will ultimately achieve it. And if you don't, you achieve something else. I love to say, when you don't achieve your goal, you achieve something else. And that something else is probably better than or is what is needed to achieve that initial goal. So with that perspective, what does that make you think of? I'm curious to know your thoughts. I'm curious to know what you think about this and how it illustrates into your life and what's going on currently with yourself. Because we're here talking, I'm really advocating for you to achieve what you want out of your life and to physically make it happen. So it's no longer about how hard it is, the tasks you have to be doing, the energy output, the time, the focus, the lack of energy, whatever it may be. It's no longer about that. But if we're asking the question, what if I didn't stop? What if I continued? What if I just kept going? What would happen? We're really looking at aspects I just mentioned. Your use of time, your use of energy, your use of focus, and your use of your perspective. If we're looking at your use of time, time itself is very powerful. It can be utilized, it can be disregarded, but ultimately it's going to continue. We all know that the clock keeps on ticking. Regardless of any circumstance, the clock keeps on ticking. So with that in mind, if this is going to continue moving forward, what is it that I can take action within this time that can move things forward as well? That's the combination of using your time wisely. That's why people say, plan your day, organize what it is you're doing throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your month, then throughout your year, what you want to be achieving. To utilize this time that's not going to stop, to utilize and to put yourself in a position that is better for yourself instead of, for instance, as I said, disregarding that other, I can do this tomorrow. I can start tomorrow. I can do this another day. Oh yeah, don't worry about it, I'll do it later. I completely understand taking breaks. I completely understand having rest, having time away. That makes complete sense. But you determine that. I'm not saying stick to this regime, be disciplined in this area, and don't stop. You decipher what it is that fits you. Use you to your advantage. That's why I emphasize in every single video. Because once again, I'm going to keep iterating it. Time continues. So if time is continuing, utilize that continuation. That means, tomorrow, if the clock's going to keep on going forward, if I do this then, this means then to the next day after that, it'll prepare me for that, for another task. That's how you utilize time, and that's what I'm emphasizing to you. But, number 2, energy. Where is your energy being placed? If your energy is ruminating upon the thoughts, I don't want to do this anymore, it takes too much time, it takes too much effort, that's the route you're going to go down. Whatever you say to yourself, Your body's listening, your mind is listening, your spirit and your emotions are listening to yourself. And they're just going to play out any story you tell it. Now that's the fascinating part about the mind, because that relates to every part of life. So if your energy then shifts over to doing the task you set up for yourself, going to the job that you need to do to pay for your bills, but working on the side on the other hobbies that you're starting your career or building an idea upon, then we completely shift from what if this happened, would I achieve this? But disregarded that whole question and move towards my energy is being placed into this thing. This is resulting in this, and that's not what I want, or that is what I want. But number 3, focus. What you focus on is what you see. I love this illustration because behind me I've got cameras. I'm into photography and I'm into videography. With the cameras, there's an aperture feature. So I can focus on things in the far distance or things up close. But whatever I focus on, I can see. Same with yourself. If you put your finger in front of you and you look at your finger, your eyes focus on your finger and behind comes blurry. If I look beyond my finger and I look around it, everything else comes into focus and my finger becomes blurry. That's how it is with your mind, spirit, emotions and body. Whatever you focus on, you see, you reveal, you open up to, and it speaks back to you, it shows itself back to you. So in relation to this question, what if I continue, what if I don't stop, what would happen? What side are you going to focus on there? The outcome that you're trying to achieve, or this person you need to become, these actions you need to take on a daily basis, taking a break when you need to continue and reach this goal eventually. Think about that. And then number 4, perception. Perception is one of my favorite words, perspective, perception, because it ultimately changes everything. I coach around perception. I coach around the way we see things, and I hope you've seen that today. I hope there's been a shift within your perception, because perception ultimately guides how we intake and how we exacerbate what we think, feel, act, believe, value, and so much more. So if your perception is catering for, what if I continue? What would happen? You're going to continually work in that manner. Not in a manner that I'm going to achieve this goal and this is going to happen. You see that difference? The certain language, the certain mindset, the certain way, the certain perception around it creates an outcome. This other perception, I am going to get this, I'm going to reach this goal, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to attain this in my life. It's a different mentality, it's a different perception of who you are, of what you can do, of what you can't do, of where you need to be, of where you don't need to be, and what you need to be focusing on, where your energy goes, and how to use your time. Do you see that they all relate, they all work with one another, and that's the power of coaching. I hope you enjoyed today's coaching session. If you did, be sure to subscribe and share this with a friend or family you think would like this type of content. My name is Kanchefu once more. Have a good day, morning, night or evening, for wherever you are in the world watching this, and I'll see you next week for your next coaching session.